everyone. Thanks for tuning in to hashtag Give Us Sister Hug. This your girl, author Erica. Thanks for checking in with me on the 6 o'clock hour. We're gonna talk about the kids going back to school, and I have some of my friends here with me to talk about this matter because I think this was very interesting because I have heard a lot of good feedback, bad feedback. So we're gonna talk about this and see what we get and where we go because they got some parents out here just in a mix about it. And I don't have no kids myself, but I do have a great nephew that's back in school. So this gonna be a good show tonight. So my friend Kim and Jen say hello to everybody.
Hi.
Thanks for taking time out y'all busy day to talk about this matter. So school, going back to school. I felt me personally, um, with this whole school situation, I have great nieces and great nephews. Um, I think three of them going to school virtual, and my great nephew goes to school in Chalmette. First day of school, they started off with three kids in the class. I think he's one of two in the class. White. He's the only him and another one is the only black kids in the class. But they had three kids in the class, and he said they social distance. They had to wear their masks. They brought their lunch to them, which is different. We didn't do that in school. Like we
Mm-hmm.
went to the cafeteria. We had the only thing he said that they couldn't do is go out on the yard. So I think that's crazy. I don't feel like the kids. I think the kids should have been virtual because it's more safe. They're home and they're not in at homes. In home's way because I feel like if you let the inmates out of jail because of corona, wow, kids got to stay in school. What y'all think about that?
Mm-hmm. I don't think that young children should have went to school. I think they should have kept them on virtual learning because, I mean, before the virus, they will come to your car. You'll get your kid back home and they have runny noses and snot everywhere. And I was not for, kindergartners, first grade, any of the younger grades going back to school. I mean, trying to get the older kids, like the high school kids, to listen. As you
Right.
can,
I
you
think that
know.
was just the babies. I mean, I love my little people, but it's just that they're not gonna keep those. I don't. It's hard for us as adults to keep those masks on. So
Mhm.
I know for little people, because they're very active, they want to do this, they want to do that, and then especially keeping them social distance from each other because that's all they know. I want to go play with my friend. I want to touch my friend. That's how you get the snotty nose. They coming home with a snotty nose and a this and a that because they're playing. So expecting
Right.
a child to wear a mask for maybe 8 hours a day plus getting in and off the bus, that's a lot that you asking of, the babies.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then, okay, let me play devil advocate though.
Okay.
So my kids are grown, so thankfully I don't have to worry about that. And I don't have no grandkids, so I can't speak on that either. But devil's advocate when it comes to the violence inside the home,
Hmm.
somebody has to be on the outside looking at these kids to make sure these kids are being fed and taken care of. Then on the flip side of that, you have to make sure that the parent is even qualified to teach the kid.
Right.
Because what am I getting at home? If my mama can't spell and my daddy is absent, that's all I got,
Right.
and vice versa. So then everybody, you're setting everybody up for failure.
Basically, yeah.
So it's like you want to. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You want to send them to school because at this point, to be honest, everybody needs a break.
Yep.
But at the same time, my child needs an education. And I can sit up here and tell you, from what my age is and what I'm going through, ain't no way I could be able to teach a child anything.
Right, and especially because they're moving around, they're just
Mhm.
not listening, and then you as the parent,
Mhm.
because we've been quarantined so long, we've
Mhm.
all been inside and we've been having a home. So now
Mhm.
it's the parent that's saying, okay,
Mhm.
I gotta be the teacher, principal, and everything.
Yep.
And now the parent is frustrated
Yep.
because she has to sit there and teach them, and you know how our little people get. They don't
Mhm.
want they act like they don't want to understand sometimes.
Yeah.
So that becomes a stress on parents. You have some parents that work that rely on the kids
Yep.
going to school because they
Mhm.
have to work during the day. So then
Mhm.
that becomes another situation that
Mhm.
okay, now I gotta make a decision whether I go to work or I
Mhm.
stay home to
Mhm.
educate my child.
Mhm.
But at the same time, when they made this big old decision, I think that something should have came about of saying, "Hey, let's figure
Mhm.
this out a better way
Mhm.
to do this,"
Mhm.
because it's gonna get crazy. Because then some of our kids, like you say, we said that's a big setup for failure because
Mhm.
parents gonna be so agitated and just trying to sit
Mhm.
down and have them to
Mhm.
figure this
Mhm.
work out. So
Yeah, just to even do the basics. I mean, you have to think about how many people it is in the world, and how many of those people are educated enough to teach their kids. And I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for everybody else. I can't tell you about no geometry, no
exactly.
algebra. You might get a 2 plus 2, and that might be all you get.
What?
I can't.
And
And then I had to use
pre-calculus and
logic.
all that. You talk about pre-calculus and
Lost me. Okay,
you
I'm gonna need
lost.
to Google. Mm-mm.
Yes, it's just I think this whole situation should have been figured out, planned
Mhm.
out better
Mhm.
than what it
Mhm.
was because it just was not planned
Mhm.
properly because it was just like
Mhm.
we're gonna put the kids in school and that's it. First they was talking
Yep.
about hybrid school for the kids.
Mhm.
And what is hybrid school?
Hybrid school is, from what I understood it to be, will be either 2 or 3 days in the classroom and then the opposite at home. Or some people are doing, as the days go on, start off in school, or we can start off, virtual, and then if things start to get a little better, then okay, we can start, having the kids come on back into school. But I think it's very interesting on how, I don't know who the student was, but in that school in Atlanta, when they went back to school, and that picture of all those kids,
Yes, I
either
think that.
teenagers or high schoolers, all in this picture, and only a handful of them had a mask on.
It wasn't even a handful of them. I think I might have seen two or three of them.
Right. And that's the thing, because me and my sister had this conversation, because her son just graduated high school. Thank you, Jesus, for that.
Right.
Um, but he caught corona.
Wow.
And I ain't trying to sound racist. Ooh, I ain't trying to go there. But, you know, he out there with them other people, them Caucasian people, all of them. He ended up with the corona. And they
Wow.
still talking about, well, come on over. No, he needs to be quarantined. Well, they said it's fine. They know I got corona. They having corona parties.
What is the corona party?
Well, we just having a party to see if anybody gonna catch it.
Wow. I think it was just it just bad for me. That was one thing, and then like I said before in the beginning, how can we say it's okay for inmates to be out, but it's okay for our kids to be in these schools? It's not like that's not
I agree with that.
that's not feasible. Like, how can that be possible?
Right. I agree.
What you think, Jen?
Can we get your phone? Yeah, yeah.
So, Kim, so what you think? How you think this all, as far as, talking about the little kids and we talk about how them wearing those
Mm-hmm.
masks off and
Mm-hmm.
on, I seen something on Instagram. One of the girls made like the kids having a mask on and then they having it around their head.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what your thoughts on our little kids, like maybe the pre-K kindergartens and first graders. What you think about them wearing a mask 8 hours a day?
It's not gonna work. It The thing with that is, this is where the school's gonna have to provide masks. Parents gonna have to provide multiple masks. Just
Hmm.
because you have to think about it. I'm only what, 4 or 5, 6, maybe.
Yeah,
I can't care about a mask.
and touching.
Eh, I'm going to school to learn, yeah, but it's a different environment for me to get out and make a friend because I'm tired of sitting in the house.
Right,
I don't like to wear a mask. And sometimes they just hard to breathe in, especially if you have lung issues, asthma,
like myself.
COPD,
Hmm.
things like that. So it makes it hard for people to breathe. So I totally get it. But I also feel like at the same time, it's like enter at your own risk. You do what's best for you. You can't do what's best for everybody else. Now, when you get sick, now don't sit up here and start whining and shit because
You put them
the
out.
alternative is wear the mask.
Right. And how do like my thing, I even asked my great nephew Ernest because me and Ernest is really close.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Oh, auntie, it's hot." I said,
Mhm.
"So what you do?" He said, "Like the teacher give us a little time, but she makes sure the air is up all day. How much of that air condition can you run on those kids?"
Mhm.
And then make it pneumonia because you going from
Mhm.
we here in New Orleans, so it's
The hot to
so
cold.
you
Mhm.
going from the hot to the cold. So okay, so what do I want? Corona
Mhm.
or pneumonia?
You're right.
And then you don't even know the difference now from
Mhm.
corona
Yep.
or
Mhm.
pneumonia. So it's
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
for me, I think I would have made the decision of keeping my kids home, which that should have been. I think from pre-K, kindergarten, first,
Mhm.
second, and third, they should be at home.
Yeah.
At home, doing this online
Mhm.
because it's just not.
Mhm.
Especially our little people, they want
Mhm.
to touch each other. They want
Mhm.
to hug. They want
Mhm.
to, they want to play with one another. So how do you tell a child, "Oh,
Mhm.
don't touch little Bobby because you
Mhm.
got a social distance"?
Mhm.
How you
Mhm.
explain that to a 5 or 6 year old? He can't touch his friend,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
he can't sit by his friend. Like
Mhm.
it's like
Mhm.
it's this whole thing you forcing these kids, and I know it's
Mhm.
the new norm. I know it's our new norm,
Mhm.
but it's like things that is like measurements and precautions that
Mhm.
these schools should
Mhm.
have made before we
Mhm.
start interacting our children in these environments
Right.
because it's really not even safe, even for our big ones. The older kids.
Mhm.
Period. It's not safe even for teachers.
Mhm.
My business
Mhm.
partner, she was talking about how the teachers were protesting that they didn't want to go back to school because it
Right.
wasn't
Right.
safe for the kids.
Uh-huh.
So what do you do? Like who? I want to know who came up with the idea. Let's put the kids back in school.
Probably the orange man.
Like, and you know what? And it was saying that if they didn't go back to school, the funding was gonna be cut for some of the schools, which that wasn't right either.
The the amount of bullshit that he is doing to people It's ridiculous. Um, he wouldn't understand because he's never been in that position,
Right.
so he would know. He was born with that silver spoon in
Spoon
his
in his
mouth, so
mouth.
he would never know how it is to start from the bottom. So
Right.
he would never know. So he don't get it because he just assumed. But my thing is, you ain't sending your kid back to school.
Why my kid got to go back to school?
So what exactly?
And I
No,
mean,
we're not gonna do that. Why not?
right. That's just, I mean, that's just crazy. Like, it's just, it's kind of heartbreaking because
It is. Mm-hmm.
in some ways, especially, you don't want to get down to the color, but that's what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Like us blacks,
Mm-hmm.
our kids, we put in this predicament. So it's like you damn if you do, and you
Damn
damn
if
if
you
you
don't.
don't. Because like you said
Yep.
earlier, you got some parents
Mm-hmm.
that don't have a fifth grade education.
Mm-hmm.
So what am I gonna teach my fifth grader? Or better yet,
Yep.
let's say my seventh grader. How am I gonna help my seventh
Good.
grader with his homework and
Good.
you know,
Mm-mm.
how is that gonna happen?
Mm. I couldn't. I could sit up here and talk about myself. I wasn't able to help my kids with their homework. I had to get their daddy, and it's not because it's just not my thing. I just, he's they daddy great at math.
Right.
Well, this me.
Oh, with the stick man.
Let me move my toes and
Draw
try to.
that stick man on the paper.
Yes, like I just that's never that was never my thing. So it's just like I totally, and it's hard
It
because you
is.
might have a parent. Like I work with a couple of people that are single parents.
Right.
Their kids are at home by themselves because their kids are at home learning, but who's watching the kids?
Right.
Because I got to go to work because I'm considered an
She
essential
don't work though.
employee.
Yeah. And
So
that's
I got to
another
work.
thing, that's another thing that the parents face. Like,
Yep.
what do I do? Do I stay home or do I go to work? Because if I don't go to work,
Uh-huh.
how I'm gonna pay the rent? To
Yep.
provide the roof over their head or the internet for them to get on online.
Yeah. Because you can sit up here and say, like, these companies are saying that we're not going to cut off this and we're not going to cut off that. So when it gets to what amount
That you not gonna cut off.
that you're not going to cut off? Because if it gets to $1,000, don't expect me to pay $1,000 right up because trust and believe I ain't got it.
Because
So
I
what you
couldn't
gonna
pay
do?
the bill in the beginning, so where I'm gonna get the $1,000 from?
I just want somebody to give me some logic because I just don't know.
I hear maybe as you know, I've been off of social media, but for a week now, just trying to
Mm-hmm.
get myself together. But
Sometimes you need that.
and one of the girls who I talked to, she was talking about, for her pre-K
Mm-hmm.
child, she
Mm-hmm.
literally have to sit there with that pre-K child
Mm-hmm.
because that's what the school required that the parents set there. So she said, well, what am I going to do about work? And he's in school from 8 to 5, 8 to 3, I want to say. So she has to sit there from 8 to 3 every day, Monday through Friday. So how am I going to work? And why? I feel like these kids are smart. Why a parent have to sit there all day? And she said the teacher told her that she have to adjust the flipboard and do things for him. Why he can't adjust that flipboard?
That's how you teach them responsibility.
But she said she have to sit there the whole time with him, which I know this guy. He have to he take care of his kids and he have to sit there with his pre-K and all day. Why? Why do I have to sit there all day with my pre-K? Like
So
that's
now, if I'm a single parent, say it again. If I'm a single parent and my child is in school and I have to sit here from 8 to 3, that means I don't have no job during the day. So then I'm gonna try to find me a job to work the evening shift. Okay. Then if I can't do that, then what? I can't get no assistance. So what am I supposed like? What am I supposed to do? I'm not if I don't have a job. What am I supposed to do? So I can't pay my little rent. I can't pay my car note. I can't
My
pay
little rent, you mean a lot of rent, huh?
yeah, all that.
Rent is rent is off the chain.
And then they talk, girl. Then they what they doing with the rent? They not supposed to be kicking people out, but people getting kicked out left and right.
Evict exactly. So what? Like all this. I mean, I think a whole lot of this planning
Mm-hmm.
should have been more. And that it comes back to some of the parents where we don't
Mm-hmm.
participate in meetings with the schools. Like my mama, when I was in school, my mama was at every meeting, every teacher meeting, every planning meeting, every everything, every conference that it was. Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't put
I was at them.
right, we don't
I,
participate in different planning meetings. That way our voices could be heard, not just stick our kids in these schools just because.
when you said that about the your mom being in school, you know, for all your planning, and it just took me back to my 25-year-old because he had an IEP.
Mm,
Um, ain't no way, ain't no way that me going back to when we were in school and how he has a learning disability and being on the spectrum of autism.
right.
Woo.
And what that's another thing. What happened to those kids, the special need kids? What's gonna happen to those kids that have the special reading teacher, have the special reading class that they can't read or special need, like you say, autism? Like
Um,
what's gonna happen to those kids? Because can you put them in hybrids? Can you put them on virtual? Because they have a
see,
time having a difficult time in the class.
I don't, I haven't checked on. I actually have a nephew
Hmm.
that is full autistic.
Wow.
Um, but he is being raised by his grandmother. So, and she's retired. So she has that time
To
to
do
give
it.
him. But she ain't sitting there because she made that very clear. I'm not sitting here all day. You
Exactly.
know, you I think when it comes to kids like that, you have to break things up. I don't know what his curriculum is, but
Okay.
I know you can only do maybe an hour, 2 hours, and then stop and then come back and do
Hmm.
something else. They have special things. I just don't know the full details of
So
what they are
what autistic kids what they attention is not long as
at all.
okay.
With him, he's fully autistic, as in, um, he really can't speak. He might can say a word or two, and I believe he is 16.
Okay. So he nonverbal.
Yes, he's nonverbal.
Wow.
Even though he makes noise, and like I said, he might be able to say a word or two, but he cannot hold a conversation with you at all.
So how you put him in a virtual class?
I know she's sitting him in front of a computer. He has earphones, but I couldn't tell you what they are doing. I just don't. I really don't get it, because that was my question.
Mm.
How is that possible?
For any
You know,
special need kid.
yeah, for especially for him,
Hmm.
who attention span, like you said, is you know very short.
Right.
They don't have the patience because they don't know how to have the patience. You
Okay.
can try to teach them, but you have to understand they're not going to compute everything
Right, but you still, and that still go back to the parent who have a special need kid. Their kid is in school all day, so they don't know, which they should. But some parents they're used to having that extra help,
Mm-hmm.
so they have that extra help for them. But being home full time with them and being virtual learning,
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole nother situation
Mm-hmm.
for them.
Mhm.
So in the end, our special needs kids are losing too.
Yep,
It sets them back.
it does. I
You
mean,
know,
she, because I'm trying to think, how old is she? I think Ma's 60. I want to say she's 60.
wow. So
She's
she
60.
So she's taking time, and that patient, she's 60 years old. Her patience is not like they used to be when she was 50.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Because
so
her patience is short, real short.
right,
Like,
so
they
because
piss
they
me
used
off.
to, right, because she used to having that extra
Help.
help where
Yeah.
she can take him to school,
Yep.
and you have people that's trained
Mhm.
and educated to provide for our special need kids. So
Mhm.
they're losing too, on this
Mhm.
whole situation. And it's
Mhm.
like, do I send my Down syndrome child to school and end up having corona?
Mhm.
Because they need time too. Like those parents need that time too because
Mhm.
they got to get their mind together. Because that's a lot. I'm quite sure that's a lot of having a special need kids. I'm quite
It
sure
is.
that's
It
a
is.
handful.
Mhm. It is a it is a handful. It's a handful. When we used to go out, like it had to be. You have to think about it. When they are autistic or
Mm.
Down syndrome, they have this strength of a bull.
Wow.
And when they are dead set against doing
Something.
something,
So there's no changing with them. Like you can't change their mind on it.
no
And
ma'am.
don't they have like this strict, like this tunnel vision, like I'm just
Uh-huh.
doing this and that's
Yep.
it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. They are set in their own little special ways, you
In
know,
their own little bubble.
and that's it. They in their own little bubble. Like, it would be, ooh, I want to say at all times it's about six, five, six adults that when we go out.
Uh huh.
Now everybody got kids, we all there. He's sitting there. Now you got to keep him entertained. So he
Right.
has his little tablet. He has his little earphones for his tablet. But when he ready to eat, we have to order his food first.
Okay.
So you order his, and it's already set what he gonna eat, cause he don't veer from nothing else.
Oh, so
So
they eat like the same thing all the time.
pretty much.
Okay. Okay.
So then we order his food. Then they her we need for y'all to turn this around quickly,
Right.
cause
Because he get
he would
agitated.
turn y'all around quickly.
He's not trying to wait. I want it like that.
Yeah. So we'll get his food together, and then you know
We'll get the
we
other
got him
kid.
situated. Now we can get out. Now we can order our food, but his need to come out first, because Jesus don't want to get it started. But I mean, he don't know any better.
Right,
You
because
know what I mean?
that's how his brain operates.
Yeah.
His brain function like that. Like I need mine right now.
Yes.
So that's another thing. Like it was just it's no thought. Like they didn't think about this deeply. That's just like they go to school. Okay, we have the kids in this virtual world of going to school. Why do they have to sit in front of the computer with a full uniform on? That's
You-
something else I didn't get. Like,
Wait a minute. What?
yes,
Wait a minute. They what?
they have to sit in front of the computer in full uniform. Why?
I'm at home.
Why? Like, why? Why? They
He said,
have
"And
to
I'm at home."
right, and the girl, Ronika, her mom used to sit with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and she sent the picture. I'm like, she posted a picture. Oh, first day of school, and I'm like, first day of virtual school, and I'm like, God, why you got them kids dressed with uniform on? She was like, oh, they supposed to wear their uniform. Like, why?
That don't make sense. That
Why
absolutely
are
makes
they
no
sitting in
sense.
front of a computer fully dressed in a uniform?
You
And
think
she
about it.
and she said that the school say that's the only way they can get marked in. What? Why are we?
Who's making up these rules? And we making this shit up as we go.
I sound like that's what I think that's what these schools are doing, making
Girl.
this up as they go. Because why our kids gotta sit in full uniform in front
Mm-hmm.
of a computer? And I have
And
seen several kids, parents post up on social media that their kids are in full uniform. Why? Why
that don't
are we
make any
spending money
sense.
like that? We spending money on uniforms, Dad.
That don't even make sense. They ain't even going to school. I ain't got no money to spend on no uniform. I'm sitting up here struggling as it is.
They
Now I gotta. That don't even make.
the kids are sitting in full uniform in front of a computer.
So
And
you gonna tell
I
me I gotta stand up? Is that what you're telling me? I gotta stand up and show you?
right. I seen and it's so funny, TikTok is TikTok is crazy. And they had a guy on TikTok did it. He was like he was in high school and he just got out the bed and the teacher was like, you need to take that headscarf off. He had to take his headscarf off and he showed where he had to put his uniform and the teacher told him, now you look presentable. Fully uniform. Like, I don't get that. Like, why are we having these kids why are we wasting it? And you know what? It's not wasting, but why are we buying uniforms and they're not gonna go to school?
Yeah, that don't make sense.
In full uniform, like they full uniform.
Mm-mm. Make it make sense.
I don't know, like
Mm-mm.
this was something that really irritate me because our little people,
Mm-hmm.
uh, even our big ones, the big ones, they can get
Mm-hmm.
on our nerves, but we still gotta think about them too. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that's so horrible. Like
Mm-hmm.
I,
I agree.
I don't think this whole school thing have been thought out properly. Just like
Mm-hmm.
with Corona.
Mm-hmm.
Corona is not thought out properly.
Mm-mm.
We still winging it.
Mm-hmm.
Still having people dying.
Mm-hmm.
And now,
They could have been stopped at the door when they first heard about it. Like when it came to light, just like the Ebola.
right.
When it came to the light, you could have before we got there.
Hold
You could
on.
have stopped it.
You're right. And now we have our kids like that just bothers me because I would even, and you can't even say that about the little kids, but big kids too, teenagers too, at some point they want to talk to their friends.
Mm-hmm.
They want to do social distance, like make this make sense to me. Like that just
Mm-hmm.
it is heartbreaking
Mm-hmm.
that our kids have to literally sit in school with masks on
Mm-hmm.
8 hours a day
8 hours a day.
and get on a school bus to go to school. So that's another 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. All day.
Like
This is crazy.
it just don't make sense, and it's just like some things that they feel like is right. What you
Mm-hmm.
say is right, but it ain't. It's right for our kids to go sit in school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
And it don't take you don't have to be a mama to have feelings. I'm not a
Right.
mama, but I still have feelings for other kids. Like these kids, they
Right.
don't know no better. Like,
Right. Right.
they could talk about it. My like I said, my great nephew Ernest in the fourth grade. Yeah, he talk about it because the school taught him, but he's still in the fourth grade and he's still a child. Like
Mm-hmm.
you still putting him in harm's way.
Mm-hmm. And he probably struggling with it himself because he doesn't have a voice.
And I think that's just horrible. Like that's just heartbreaking. You see and you expect the kids just to be happy of going back to school and just it's not right.
Yeah. It's
So
it's 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 the crazy part about it is, if I was in this predicament, what would I do?
mhm,
And I'll be honest, I would struggle just because of the fact of my child needs a proper education, but
mhm.
I don't want you to get sick.
Right.
And knowing, what my lane is,
Mm-hmm.
and math ain't.
Right. And math is something that a lot of kids struggle with because I have two godchildren struggle like hell with math.
Mhm.
So, reading. You
Mhm.
have kids that have trouble, like myself. When I was in the fourth grade, I couldn't read.
Mhm.
So if my mama had to be in this predicament now with a child that couldn't read,
Mhm. Mhm.
you have kids that just don't that need
A
special
little bit more
attention,
attention.
a little bit more help than others. Like what kind of help you give them? Do you give them online tutor?
Mhm.
You know,
Cause
and
how would that work?
and everything can't be online. Some things have to be face to face, like helping a child to read. That's something that have to be done face to face.
Right. Because how's a virtual thing? Because how I'm looking at you, you looking at me, and all I'm doing is sitting here. But maybe we might have a split screen. Maybe we might not. It just depends on what it is, and we just have an open discussion. But how is this working for the kids that's in high school or even middle school? Let's start middle school, because when I was in middle school, I had 6 different classes.
Right.
So how is that working?
Right. So do
So
they have six different classes that they go to?
I know back in the day they did,
We had
and
seven.
may, what was 7 hour?
Well,
We didn't have to.
it started off at seven, but we broke that when in my 11th grade year they broke it up 4 by 4 each quarter. We had four new classes, then we go to four other new classes. That's how it was, but how is it now?
Right. That would be my question.
And not only for our kids, that we could talk about the kids too, but what about some of these teachers? You putting them in harm's way of having them to come in a class
Yep.
to teach class. Like they have to be motivated too.
Right. And not just on top of that is, I'm a teacher. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna teach you something, but it goes back to that kid that's sick, that you don't know that's sick,
That asthmatic kid.
that might got it, but then you come to class and then you give it to everybody. So then what do you do?
And you have another teacher that's out that need to be quarantined, and now you have what 15 more other kids that need to be quarantined.
Yep.
So that's like set back, like
Yeah.
it's just for me it's just heartbreaking because I do
Mhm.
care about kids. I don't have any, but I do care about kids because when you look at it, they are our future.
Mhm.
They need the education, they need the knowledge, they need the tools to be good, better people. And if
Mhm.
they don't have that,
Mhm.
what do we have?
Mhm.
What do
Mhm.
we get?
Mhm.
And then you have parents, and if most parents they probably feeling bad about I can't help my child, but my
Mhm.
child stuck with this.
Mhm. Mhm.
You
I would be that parent. That parent would be me.
right, and like you got parents like you said, single parents. Like, what I choose, my
Mhm.
child not being sick or
Mhm.
rent.
Mhm.
You know, so,
Mhm.
okay, I choose to stay home to try to educate my child. I got a big old eviction notice on my door.
Mhm.
That go another problem.
Mhm. Mhm.
So this all like, this whole thing of these kids going back to school just been heartbreaking after heartbreaking because everybody right now in this situation, everybody being heartbreaking with this because everybody like it's just a big old set for failure.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what do we do? Like where do we go?
I mean, the only thing I could come up with when it comes to that is just lend a listening ear. Now I can't help your child with the math now. I can't do that. But I
Right.
can sit up here and try to talk to you. I can give you a little history, but it's gonna be on Black history. Ain't gonna be on the white. I'm sorry. So you might have failed that class. I'm just saying. So
Right.
we can do some home ec because I can teach you how to sew and I can do some crafts with you.
And for the older kids that's in high school, sex education.
I can do that too. Yeah, I can do that too.
I mean the legal way.
Yeah, right, the legal way. Right, I can do that too. I can tell you what not to do and put this rubber on this little banana and call it a day. Okay?
I can tell you about STDs. Like
Right.
if it's looking funny, you don't want that.
Uh-uh. Not at all, because it's gonna fall off.
let's let's pass that up.
Yes, please.
So it's just something that I felt like I wanted to talk about. And I know it's probably many parents out there like, what the hell I do?
Mm-hmm.
What I do in this situation. I got work, got bills, but my child need an education.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to talk about it and, see what we get to put out there, you know, for parents. Because I know parents are struggling. You got some parents drinking more.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because it's
Just
heavy.
tell them to come on in to, give a sister a hug, and we gonna come on. We gonna love on them. That's all we can do right now.
Right here, I mean, we could.
I can't teach you nothing. I can't give you no math, but I can give you a hug now.
We gonna hug it out, because
Yeah.
I mean, and basically that's all what end up for parents. They need that
Mm-hmm.
hug, they
Mm-hmm.
need that support because it's
Mm-hmm.
just mind blowing on the
It is.
decisions that we have to make.
Mm-hmm. True.
So it just, that's just something that it kind of bothers me. Like it
Right.
bothers me, and you know, do homeschooling. Do virtual school. Period. Screw the hybrid stuff and just do everything
Right.
online anyway. Because that's what
Right.
it's gonna end up going to anyway. You got pre-K through 12 on online school now. So do that. You
Right.
seen that commercial?
Yeah, I seen it. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I think it's kind of like the same thing. I want to say that's maybe the same curriculum that they might be using. It's homeschooling stuff.
oh, okay, okay. So ladies, we talk about this and this is very heartbreaking, and especially
It
for me
is.
because I have great nieces and nephews that I worry about all the time,
Mm-hmm.
going back to school and how it's going to affect them.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this should have been just planned out just a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes back to some of us parents, we got to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
When they have these Zoom meetings, we got to be on these Zoom meetings. We got to voice our opinion about this because we got to make sure our kids don't fall through the cracks because our kids do fall through the cracks, and especially us, our black kids. They
All black
fall
kids.
through the
Yep.
cat. They fall through the cracks,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have the support. So, sisters, we got to be more involved with what's going on with our kids with this
Mm-hmm.
whole school thing because this has to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't keep letting our kids fall through this crack and nobody's not picking them up.
Right.
So, I don't know if Kim have anything more before we go, but that's how I'm feeling. Like I'm feeling kind of upset about that because I would hate to see more kids pass away from this corona.
Correct. I agree with that.
So,
Um, what I can say is keep your head up.
right.
It's we all in this together, and that's the thing. We have to stick together to be together.
Hmm.
So, again, if you need anything, come on and join. Give a sister a hug, and we gonna hug it out, girl.
We gonna hug it
We
out.
got you.
We gonna, it's a non-judgment zone. So,
Right.
hey, if you need to let it go, we here.
Let it go. Yeah.
So I want to say thanks from John and us at Give Us a Star Hug, and that's just our thoughts on this whole our kids going back to school situation. So I want to say thanks to Kim, always taking time out on her busy day and always supporting Give Us a Star Hug a lot. And
I like that.
um, So you ladies have a good day, and thanks for tuning in. I'm your girl, author Erica. And also go over to Facebook and check out our Give a Sister a Hug group where we talk
Yes.
about everything. We share everything from mental health, good health, connection, taking care of one another, and just sharing all of the resources that's out there. So go over to Facebook and check it out. And you guys have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.